What's going on guys, LR Trigger here. First of all, I'm sorry for the lack of uploads, and second, this might be the last Pokemon challenge that I'll be doing because I will try streaming here on YouTube instead of making videos to be uploaded. I'm thinking of streaming once a week and maybe for 2 hours, but I still don't know when to start, and that's why I want to take your suggestions. Take note, I live in Philippines, so my time zone is GMT plus 8. And also, I will start with Pokemon games and gradually branch out to other games. I hope you understand guys. Now, let's proceed to today's challenge. I will be attempting to beat Pokemon FireRed with only Viridian Forest Pokemon, and they are Caterpie, Weedle, and Pikachu. Caterpie's final evolution is Butterfree, a decent special attack focused Pokemon. Weedle's final evolution is Beedrill, more focused on attack. Lastly, Pikachu's final evolution is Raichu, a balance of attack and special attack. Let's go to the rules. Only Viridian Forest Pokemon in battle, no other Pokemon allowed. No cheats, glitches, or anything related. Items are not allowed during the battle, but held items are allowed. I'm kinda curious because I've never used Butterfree and Beedrill before. As for Pikachu, it's like my staple electric type Pokemon. I know Jolteon and Magneton is better, but I just love the thought of having Pikachu or Raichu on the team. Well, we got that down. It's time to start the game. I named my character Larry and my rival Jeff. I chose Bulbasaur so that he will choose Charmander, giving my bug types a challenge later on. Let's skip through the rival battle and the parcel because that's not the main point of this challenge. Alright, so I went to Viridian Forest and this is where the game really starts. I caught a Caterpie and named her Elizabeth. Next up was Weedle and I named him Timmy. Elizabeth has a serious nature while Timmy has a quirky nature, which means their stats are neutral. I tried hunting for Pikachu but I had no luck, so I decided to train Elizabeth and Timmy for a little bit before hunting again for Pikachu. At level 7, Elizabeth evolved into a Metapod. Not long after that, Timmy also evolved into Kakuna. Then I looked again for Pikachu. I caught a level 3 Pikachu and named him Lemmouse because Lemmao. He has a lonely nature, high attack and low defense. Then I trained them all until Elizabeth and Timmy evolved into Butterfree and Beedrill respectively, and Lemmouse reached level 10. Now it's time to battle Jeff. 2 Thundershocks were enough to beat Pidgey. As with Jeff's Charmander, it took 3 confusions from Elizabeth. After a win against Jeff, I passed through Viridian Forest and then reached Pewter City. I immediately tried to battle Brock to test my team. Elizabeth took down his Geodude with 2 confusions, with a critical in the second one. Next up was Onyx. I managed to land 1 confusion before going down with his Rock Tomb. I sent out Timmy and managed to poison Onyx with Poison Sting while he hit Timmy with Bind. I then used String Shot to lower his speed and used Harden. Onyx landed 1 Rock Tomb and Timmy was left with 4 HP and his speed was also lowered. His Bind kicked in and Timmy's left with 2 HP and he finished it off with Tackle. I had no choice but to use my last Pokemon, Lemmouse. I used Growl to lower Rock Tomb's damage and held on until the poisoning did its job. Eventually, Onyx fainted and we got our first gym badge. I gotta say, this team really had the potential. After the battle, I went through these trainers until I reached Mount Moon. There were some small problems, but I managed to pass through those. I arrived at Cerulean City and immediately tried the rival battle. His hacked Pidgeotto was no problem for my Lemmouse. 2 Thundershocks and 1 quick attack did the job, but he's left with only 4 HP. For his Rattata, I sent out Timmy and did a Poison Sting Fury attack combo. At this stage, Timmy's skills were not that good, but wait until he learns Break Break to a Needle and Aerial Ace. Anyways, I used Elizabeth's Sleep Powder against Charmander and spammed Confusion until he fainted. Lastly, Timmy took care of the useless Abra and eventually we won against Jeff. After the rival battle, I then tried if we can beat Misty, but sad to say that her team was way out of my league. Her Starmie was just so good, so I had to go and train hard, like real hard. I battled the trainers on the Nugget Bridge and went to fix the build situation. After that, I tried the gym again and it took 2 attempts but I got no good results, so I had to train more. After a few levels, I made Timmy learn Secret Power and Elizabeth learn Thief, hoping that it can somehow help. Then I battled Misty for the 3rd time. Timmy faced off against Staryu but was defeated by a critical Water Pulse, so I had to switch to Lemmouse and 1 Thundershock was enough. Then, I put Starmie to sleep by using Elizabeth's sleep powder and spammed Thief, but unfortunately it wasn't enough, so Misty used a super potion and Elizabeth fell to another critical water pulse. The mouse was the last one standing, but his Thundershock wasn't enough and he got confused, so we failed for the third time already. I was thinking that the strategy was going well and I had to try again. Staryu vs Timmy. Different attack patterns but all led to the same result as with the previous attempt. Lemaus finished the job with quick attack. Now for Starmie, I didn't switch to Elizabeth. I stayed with Lemaus and used Thundershock before going down. I was determined that this was going to be it. I'm down with my last Pokemon, Elizabeth. I immediately put Starmie to sleep and used Thief twice. This time, Misty didn't use a super potion, so her Starmie eventually went down. We got the second badge after 4 tries. After the second gym, I went to Vermilion City to get the versus Seeker, Bike Voucher, and lastly the Asian Cut in the SSN. Battled all the trainers here to gain levels, and lastly my rival Jeff. Of course, his Pidgeotto can't handle the mouse because he now has Thunderbolt. Next up was his Raticate, so I had my man Timmy try his skills against the rat, but Hyper Fang was just too much. So, Elizabeth went out and avenged him. Next up was Charmeleon, so I used Pikachu's Dig, which I taught him earlier. And then the last one was Kadabra, which was really no big deal. So, my rival was defeated and I got the HM cut. Now it's time for the third gym. I defeated all of the trainers here before solving the puzzle. I really thought that I'll be having a hard time, but it was easy. I then battled Lieutenant Surge. Voltorb and Pikachu were easy, but when it came to Raichu, I thought that it was going to be easy. He started spamming double teams, so Dig was ineffective. I switched to Elizabeth to make him fall asleep, but he used full heal and Elizabeth went down with 1 shockwave. I had no choice but to risk it with Lemaus and his 2 PowerPoint Dig. First one was wasted because Lemaus got paralyzed, so I had to place my bet on the last PowerPoint for Dig. Luckily, the last Dig connected and Lieutenant Surge was finally defeated. I got my third gym badge. Now it's time to get the HM Flash. I don't want to play guessing games in Rock Tunnel anymore. I went through Diglett's cave and eventually reached the other side to get the HM. I then went through Route 9 to get the TM for Aerial Ace and entered Rock Tunnel. It was an easy adventure thanks to Flash. Not long enough, I finally reached the exit and battled all the trainers outside and eventually arrived at Lavender Town. Got no business here yet, so we traveled to Celadon City to get the Silph Scope. We entered the secret hideout under the game corner, wandered for a bit, and I eventually got the lift key for the elevator. Now it's time to face Giovanni. His first Pokemon was Onix, so Timmy countered it with 2 Brick Breaks. Next up was Rhyhorn, so I used Lemaus' Dig for 3 times. Lastly, he used Kangaskhan and I used Elizabeth's Poison Powder. She fell to Kangaskhan's Mega Punch and I switched to Timmy. It was the perfect moment for Timmy to repay his debt to Elizabeth, so he finished it off with Brick Break. Giovanni was defeated and I got the Silph Scope. I went back to Lavender Town to save Mr. Fuji, but before that, I encountered a quick rival battle. Like always, his Pidgeotto can't handle my Lemaus. 1 Thunderbolt took down the bird. His Gyarados also couldn't do a thing since he's 4 times weaker to my Thunderbolt. Next up was Execute, so I switched to Timmy, who learned Twin Needle a while ago. It only took 1 hit and then the eggs got destroyed. Next up was Kadabra, and yet again, only 1 hit from Twin Needle. This was where Timmy started to become a powerhouse. Lastly, he sent out Charmeleon, so I switched to Lemaus and used Dig twice to beat the Charmeleon. After beating my rival, I went upstairs until I reached the ghost of Marowak. I battled the ghost and then went upstairs to fight off some rocket grunts and then save Mr. Fuji. We went to his house and he gave me the Pokeflute. After that, I went back to Celadon to take on Erika and get my 4th gym badge. It was actually no big deal as I spammed Twin Needle and Aerial Ace against all of her Pokemon. I eventually got the 4th badge. After that, I bought a Thunderstone from the Celadon department and used it on Lemaus to make him fully evolve into a Raichu. Then I went to get the HM Fly in this not-so-secret house. I traveled through the Cyclone Road and then arrived at Fuchsia City to challenge Koga and get my 5th badge. First up was Coughing, and Elizabeth took it down with Psychic, which I taught her a while ago. Next was Muck, and I immediately used Sleep Powder so that he can't use Minimize. I did a Psybeam Psychic combo just to make sure. He sent out another Coughing, so Elizabeth took it down with Psychic. His last Pokemon was Wheezing. I tried to put it to sleep, but he used a full heal, but it was no problem, since I put it back to sleep and used another Psychic. Koga was defeated, and I got my 5th badge. After the gym battle, I entered the Safari Zone to take the Gold Teeth and the HM Surf. Then I gave the gold teeth to the warden, and in return he gave me the HM strength. Next up, I went to Saffron to save Silph from the rockets. I immediately went to the 5th floor to get the card key and used the teleporter in the 3rd floor. I arrived at the 7th floor only to have another rival encounter. He now has a Pidgeot but still couldn't handle one Thunderbolt from the mouse, and the same thing happened to his Gyarados. His next Pokemon was Execute, so Timmy and his twin Needle took care of it. The same fate was given to his Alakazam. He's down to his last Pokemon, and I was pretty confident with Limousin at that moment, but I was wrong. One Thunderbolt wasn't enough, and then he used Carry Face to lower my speed. He set it up perfectly to be the one to move first in the next turn, and graciously used Flamethrower. That's when my hope was lost. The rest of my Pokemon were bug types, so they can handle the fire very well. I lost to my rival for the very first time. After the battle, I decided to battle every trainer in the building before taking on my rival. I leveled them up to level 42 to 45, and then I went to battle Jeff again. Same things happened with his 4 Pokemon. Now it's time for his Charizard. I tried to use Elizabeth's Sleep Powder, but he's faster, so he beat her with her Flamethrower. I sent out a higher level Limousin and used Thunderbolt. He's left with maybe 1 HP and set up the same scare face as before to hit me with Flamethrower in the next turn. Luckily, we're left with 5 HP, so I didn't hesitate to overkill Charizard by using Thunderbolt. Finally, Jeff was defeated. What's the score now? Something like 5-1? Anyways, we took this Lapras for us to use later on for Surf. Then we headed straight to Giovanni to save the president. His first Pokemon was Nidorino. I used Limousin's Dig against him and did a 1-hit KO, but we got poisoned in the process. Next up was Nidoqueen, so I switched to Elizabeth. I put her to sleep and spammed 3 Psychics. Third one was Rhyhorn. Put him to sleep and attacked with Giga Drain, which I taught Elizabeth earlier. The last Pokemon was Kangaskhan, so I switched to my boy Timmy. 2 Brick Breaks was enough to beat Giovanni. The left and the president was safe. He gave me the useless Master Ball as a token of gratitude. After saving the building, I went straight to the fighting dojo and showed him who's boss. Then I went to Sabrina's gym to get my 6th badge. You guessed it right, Timmy was on a killing spree. Well, almost. Kadabra and Mr. Mime were no problem at all, but when she sent out the much faster Alakazam, that's when the mighty Timmy got defeated with 1 Psychic. I sent out Elizabeth and we got hit by Psychic. We were able to put him to sleep, but she used a full heal. Luckily, Alakazam used Future Sight in the next turn, so we got to put him to sleep yet again and hit him with 1 Giga Drain before she withdrew Alakazam and sent out Venomoth. Elizabeth got hit by Future Sight, so we're left with 10 HP. I misclicked by using Psybeam because I thought that was Psychic, so Elizabeth went down with 1 Gust. I switched to Limousin and used Thunderbolt to finish it off. We sent out Alakazam, who was still asleep, so it hit him with a strong Thunderbolt. Sabrina was defeated and we got our 6th badge. After the gym battle, I went straight to Cinnabar Island to take on the 7th gym. But before that, I took the secret key inside the burned mansion so that I can enter the gym. After taking the key, we faced off playing. I used Limousin against his Growlithe and Ponyta and hit them with Thunderbolt since his attack was lowered. His 3rd Pokemon was Rapidash. I used Thunderbolt, but he kept on using Hyper Potion since it wasn't enough to one-shot the horse. I decided to hit him with 1 Dig and finish it off with Thunderbolt. He sent out his last Pokemon Arcanine, and I was really unsure if Limousin can take him on himself. I risked it all with Dig, but to my surprise, we hit him with a critical 1-hit Dig. Blaine was defeated, and we got the 2nd to the last badge. After the fire gym, I went back to Viridian City to take on the last gym leader, Giovanni himself. His first Pokemon was Rhyhorn, so I used Elizabeth's Giga Drain. For the other Rhyhorn, I switched to Timmy and used 2 Brick Breaks. For Dugtrio, I switched back to Elizabeth, put him to sleep, and hit him with Giga Drain. For Nidoqueen, I tried to put her to sleep, but Giovanni used a full heal. But it's all good since I was able to land 2 Psychics to take down the Nidoqueen. His last Pokemon was Nidoking, and I did the same Sleep Powder Psychic combo, but this time, Nidoking was able to wake up. Yet again, it was no problem, so we finished it off with the last Psychic. We beat all of the gym leaders, so it was time to take on the Elite Four. But before that, I had a quick rival battle. His Pidgeot went down with a Thunderbolt as always. Then he sent out Rhyhorn, so I switched to Elizabeth and hit him with 1 Giga Drain. He immediately sent out Charizard, so I sent out Limousin to fight back. I used Thunderbolt, and he's left with almost 2 HP. Then he countered with a Scare Face to lower my speed. Of course, he was the first one to hit me in the next turn with Flamethrower. Limousin was left with 1 HP, just enough to finish off Charizard with a strong Thunderbolt. Next was Execute, so I switched to Timmy and defeated him with one Twin Needle. Then he sent out Alakazam, who wasted his turn with Calm Mind, so I beat him with a Twin Needle. Lastly, he sent out Gyarados and I risked my 1 HP Lemaus. Too bad for him because Lemaus was faster. We beat Jeff here, and we headed straight to Victory Road. After moving and dropping a few boulders, I finally reached the Pokemon League. First thing I did was to try my team against the Elite Four. Here goes Lorelei. I used Thunderbolt against her Dugong, but it wasn't enough, so she used a full restore. Then she used Hail, and I used a Dig Thunderbolt combo to beat her Dugong. Next up was Cloyster, and she successfully protected herself against my Thunderbolt. I used Double Team just in case, and then finished it off with Thunderbolt. Next was Slowbro, so I switched to Timmy and used Twin Needle. Seeing that using another Twin Needle won't be enough, I used Brick Break to do some chip damage. Then I thought that using Twin Needle after that would be enough, but Slowbro was left with 1 HP. Luckily, she didn't use a full restore, so we ended it with Timmy's return. She then sent out her tank, Lapras, so I switched to Elizabeth and put her to sleep. I was not sure what to do, so I tried one Psychic before switching to Lemaus. Then I used Double Team because I was thinking that she'll hit me with a Surf or Ice Beam, but she was still asleep. So I hit her with Thunderbolt, and I was lucky that she didn't heal Lapras. Yet. She woke up and used Ice Beam, but she missed. Then her Citrus Bear kicked in and she got healed. Fortunately, I was able to use Thunderbolt twice in a row, so her Lapras went down. The last Pokemon was Jinx, so I switched to Timmy and defeated her with Twin Needle. We beat the first member of the Elite Four. Next up was Bruno. His first Pokemon was Onix, so I sent out Timmy and used Brick Break. He tried to counter with Rock Tomb but missed. I used Aerial Ace to do some chip damage, then of course he used Rock Tomb and our speed got lowered. Timmy got slower, so he was able to hit me first with Earthquake and Timmy was left with 34 HP, but then we managed to beat his Onix with another Brick Break. Next up was Hitmonchan, so I switched to Elizabeth to put him to sleep. I then used Psychic twice and he fainted. Next up was Machamp and I made him sleep again. I hit him with 2 Psychics, then the Citrus Bear kicked in, so I ended it with another Psychic. The fourth one was Hitmonlee. He was faster, so he hit me with Mega Kick before we put him to sleep. I then switched to Timmy and hit him with a critical Aerial Ace. He's left with his second Onix, so we put him to sleep again and defeated him with 1 Giga Drain. Bruno was defeated and next up was Agatha. She sent out Gengar while I used Elizabeth. She used Double Team first and my Sleep Powder missed. She used another Double Team and I tried my luck for the second time. This time I was successful and was able to land a critical Psychic. Next up was Golbat, so I switched to Lemaus and defeated her with 1 Thunderbolt. The third one was Arbok and I stayed with Lemaus. I used Thunderbolt twice to ensure the win against Arbok. She then sent out the stronger Gengar and tried to hit me with Hypnosis but missed. So I countered with Sleep Powder and used 2 Psychics before the Citrus Bear kicked in. Agatha used Full Restore and I used 1 Psychic. She landed a Sludge Bomb against Elizabeth and she got poisoned. We ended it with Elizabeth Psychic. Now she's down to her last Pokemon, a weak-ass Haunter, who managed to put Timmy to sleep before Agatha heals her up. After a few turns, Timmy woke up and used Aerial Ace. He tried to put me back to sleep but missed, so I finished it off with another Aerial Ace. Agatha was finally defeated. Here goes one of the biggest challenges. Lance the Dragon Trainer. Lemaus easily handled his Gyarados. He then sent out Dragonair, so I used Timmy's return. She was able to set up Safeguard before going down, which means Elizabeth can't put any of his Pokemon to sleep. So, as the new player that I am, I tried to land Toxic, but luckily Dragonite ended my foolishness. I switched to Timmy to try and outmuscle him, but he was just pretty powerful, so Timmy fainted after 1 wing tap. I was left with my last Pokemon, Lemaus. I tried to use Double Team, but his Hyper Beam can't seem to miss. This ends the first Pokemon League attempt. My team was not yet ready, so I decided to do Bill's side quest in order to access better training grounds. After a little bit of training, Elizabeth reached level 58, while Lemaus and Timmy reached level 61. I tried to battle the Elite Four once again, but I can't seem to get past against Bruno. In the third attempt, Agatha simply destroyed my team. Once my team reached level 65, I tried the league once more. I got past Lorelei easily compared to the first attempt. Then Elizabeth handled almost all of Bruno's Pokemon before going down. Oh, and I replaced Giga Drain with much more powerful Solar Beam. The Sleep Powder can help with the 1 charging turn. The mouse defeated the last Onyx with Brick Break, so we headed to Agatha. It was also a smooth run thanks to the mouse. Now, here goes the last Elite Four member. Again, Gyarados fell into the hands of Lamause with one Thunderbolt. He then sent out Dragonair, and I switched yet again to Timmy and used 2 returns. Next up was the mighty Dragonite, and instead of switching to Elizabeth like last time, I tried using Timmy and landed a critical return before falling to Wing Attack. Then I sent out Elizabeth and used Psychic, but it didn't do much damage, so he countered with a strong Wing Attack, leaving her with 17 HP. I used another Psychic and he was on red health. Dragonite then annihilated Elizabeth using Outrage, so I had to improvise with Lamause. I was thankful enough that he didn't use a full restore, so I defeated the mighty dragon with the Thunderbolt. Next up was another Dragonair, so I hit it with 2 Brick Breaks, but he managed to paralyze the mouse. Lastly, he sent out Aerodactyl, one of his Pokemon I feared the most because of Earthquake. He hit me with 1 Ancient Power as I wasn't able to move because of the paralysis. In the next turn, he hit me again with Ancient Power, but then I was able to one-shot him with Thunderbolt. Finally, Dragon Trainer was defeated. Here comes the last and ultimate challenge, my rival Jeff. Like always, his Pidgeot was no challenge for my Lamause. Next up was Rhydon, so I switched to Elizabeth to put him to sleep so I can charge up Solar Beam. But he was able to wake up and tried to hit me with Rock Tomb, but he missed. A Solar Beam landed and it was a one-hit KO. Next up was Charizard, so I switched to Lamause and landed a Brick Break Thunderbolt combo. Charizard was defeated and I sent out Alakazam. I switched to Elizabeth to put him to sleep and switched to Timmy for the Twin Needle Barrage. Alakazam was defeated and then he sent out the Exeggutor. Timmy wasn't able to one-shot the Coconut but he fainted due to the lucky poisoning. Lastly, he sent out Gyarados, so Lamause easily handled it with 1 Thunderbolt. Jeff was finally defeated and I became the new Pokemon League champion with Viridian Forest Pokemon only. Alright, so that was the Viridian Forest challenge. Timmy really became a powerhouse in the late game, Elizabeth became a cunning butterfly, and Lamause literally zapped his way to the Hall of Fame. It was a pretty strong team, I must say, and with the right moveset, you can have a wide range of type coverage. Anyways, that was it. Thank you for watching the video. Kindly leave a like and don't forget to subscribe. Again, this might be the last Pokemon challenge video because I will try streaming here on YouTube. Kindly leave suggestions regarding the streaming schedule and things like that. Thank you so much for watching till the end, and if you're still here, comment down below #Viridian Challenge. That's all. I hope to see you next time. LR Trigger out.